Today we're talking about something every independent hotel does hundreds of times a day, yet rarely stops to examine. Guest communication. Not polished scripts, not corporate phrases that sound as though they've been written by a committee. Just the everyday conversations that shape how guests remember their stay. The email they received after booking, the welcome at reception, the update when something doesn't quite go to plan. The thank you after they've gone home. Here's something worth remembering. Guests rarely remember every word you say. They remember how you made them feel. So today I'd like to answer one simple question. What do guests remember most about how we communicate? The stay begins before the guests arrive. Now let's start before anyone walks through your front door. Imagine a couple driving to your hotel. They're running later than expected. Traffic has been heavy. The navigation system has taken them down what looks remarkably like a farm track, and they're wondering whether they missed a turn. They can't remember if breakfast is included. They're hoping parking will be straightforward. Now imagine they received this message from your hotel early that morning. Good morning, Sarah. We're looking forward to welcoming you today. Parking is behind the blue gate. Check-in starts at 3 o'clock. Breakfast is included. And if you're arriving after 7 this evening, just ring the bell by the side entrance. Safe travels. Now that is hardly a masterpiece in literature, but it does something incredibly valuable. It answers the question your guests were already asking themselves. That is what great communication does. It removes uncertainty before uncertainty becomes stress. So here's one conversation that can rescue an entire stay. Every hotel owner knows this situation. A guest arrives exactly at check-in time. Unfortunately, the room isn't quite ready. Now there are two ways this conversation can go. The first is short and awkward. I'm sorry, your room isn't ready yet. Then everyone waits. No explanation, no update, no indication of how long it's going to take. Within minutes, the guest starts wondering whether anyone has forgotten them. Now try that same situation differently. Mrs. Botel, I am so sorry. Your room needs another 15 minutes because we'd rather prepare it properly than rush it. Make yourself comfortable in the lounge. I'll bring you an update in 10 minutes, and I would be delighted to organize a cup of tea for you while you wait. Nothing about the delay has changed. The room still isn't ready. The experience feels completely different. The guest understands what's happening. They know what to expect. Most importantly, they know someone is looking after them. That's one of the biggest lessons in hospitality. You won't prevent every problem, but you can control how guests experience those problems. The guest, however, doesn't see departments. They see one hotel. And they don't think that's housekeeping's responsibility. They simply think, no one seems to know what's going on. That's why great communication is never relying on memory. It's about creating simple habits that everyone follows. Consistency always beats complexity. Now let's look at the small communication mistakes that quietly costs independent hotels 5-star reviews every single week. Most disappointing guest experiences don't begin with a major problem, they begin with small communication mistakes. Mistake number 1. It's easy to forget that your hotel is completely unfamiliar to someone visiting for the first time. You know where to park. You know which entrance to use after dark. You know how breakfast finishes 9:30, but your guests might not. Whenever you catch yourself thinking, everyone knows that, pause for a moment. Ask instead, would a first-time guest know this? Mistake number 2, giving too much information. A guest arrives after a long journey. They're carrying their bags. They're thinking about dinner. Perhaps the children are tired. This isn't the moment to explain every service your hotel offers. Give guests the information they need now. Communication works rather like serving a meal. You wouldn't bring every course to the table at the same time. Mistake number 3. Different answers from different people. Nothing undermines confidence faster than inconsistency. If reception says breakfast starts at 7, the restaurant says 7:30, and another staff member gives a different answer altogether, guests stop trusting the information they're receiving. Consistency doesn't mean everything sounds identical. It simply means everyone is working from the same information. Mistake number 4. Promising more than you can deliver. Most broken promises begin with good intentions. A guest asks if an early check-in is possible. Wanting to help, someone replies, "Well, I'm sure that's fine." Only later does housekeeping explain the room won't be ready. A better response is honest and reassuring. "Let me check for you, and I'll come straight back with an answer." Mistake number 5. Staying silent when things change. Guests usually understand. What frustrates them is not knowing what's happening. A short update can completely change the experience. "Thank you for your patience. Your room will be ready in 10 minutes, and I'll come and find you as soon as it is." Now that is simple, that is clear, and that is reassuring. Mistake number 6. Forgetting to follow up. Solving a problem is only half the job. Checking that the solution actually worked is what guests remember. Was the shower repaired? Did the extra pillow arrive? Is everything now as it should be? Those quick follow-up questions tell guests that you genuinely care about the outcome, not just the task. Mistake number 7. Ending the conversation at checkout. Many hotels unintentionally end the relationship when the guest pays the bill. Instead, think of the checkout as the beginning of the next visit. A sincere thank you, a request for feedback, an invitation to book direct next time. Those small touches keep your hotel fresh in the guest's mind long after they've returned home. Let me finish with a simple communication framework that you can start using this week. You don't need a brand new piece of software. You don't need pages of procedures. You simply need a consistent way of thinking about every stage of the guest journey. 1. Before arrival. Hospitality begins long before a guest walks through your front door. Your pre-arrival message should answer the questions most guests are already asking. 2. The arrival. The first few minutes often set the tone for the entire stay. You welcome the guest warmly. You use their name when appropriate, then focus on the information they need immediately. 3. During the stay. This is where communication becomes proactive. Don't wait for guests to tell you something's gone wrong. Check that everything is meeting their expectations. 4. The departure. Checkout is more than settling the bill. Thank the guest sincerely. Ask whether everything met their expectations. Invite honest feedback. And 5. After the stay. The relationship doesn't end when the guest drives away. A thoughtful thank you email keeps the hotel fresh in their minds. It's also the perfect opportunity to invite a review, to remind guests that they're always welcome to book directly when they're ready to return. So I'm going to give you a challenge for this week. Rather than trying to improve everything at once, choose one communication point this week. Read your booking confirmation as though you've never visited your hotel before. Stand quietly beside reception for 15 minutes and listen to the way guests are welcomed. Or ask a trusted friend to book a room and tell you where the communication feels confusing. Small improvements are easier to maintain than dramatic changes. So I'm going to help you make things easier. I've included a couple of free resources in today's show notes. You'll find the Independent Hotel Blueprint. If you haven't got it yet, it's fantastic. And it's packed with practical ideas to help independent hotel owners strengthen their systems, improve their guest experience, and increase direct bookings and reduce day-to-day stress. You will also find this week's guest communication templates. They are designed to save time while helping your team communicate clearly and consistently without losing your hotel's personality. If you'd like to explore these ideas in more detail, I'd love you to join my free webinar. From chaos to control, the 3 fixes every hotel owner needs to boost bookings and cut stress. You can find all the links in the show notes. What's the one conversation in your hotel that could be better? Is it about your booking confirmation, your arrival welcome, or even the way you explain delays? Or perhaps it's how you keep in touch with guests after they leave? Let me know by leaving a comment. Here are your 5 key takeaways from today's episode. Guests remember how your communication made them feel, not every word you said. Clear, timely information reduces stress and builds trust. Consistency across every department creates confidence. Small, thoughtful updates often matter more than perfect solutions. Great communication isn't about sounding corporate, it's about making guests feel cared for. If there's one message I'd like you to remember from today's episode, it is this. Every conversation shapes the guest experience. A helpful email before arrival, a warm welcome at reception, a reassuring update when plans change, a genuine thank you after checkout. None of these moments are dramatic on their own, but together they tell guests what sort of hotel you are. So this week, don't aim for perfection, aim for clarity. Choose one conversation, improve it, help one guest feel a little more informed, a little more relaxed, a little more welcome. You do that consistency and you'll create happier guests, stronger reviews, more repeat bookings, and a hotel that's remembered for all the right reasons. If today's episode is helping you run a calmer, smarter hotel, subscribe and share it with another owner. And if you'd like to, feel free to buy us a coffee. We'll gladly trade caffeine for more ideas, systems, and stories to help your hotel thrive. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need the right next step. Thanks for listening, and I will see you next time on Hotelier Helpcast.